everybody. Friar Tuck here. This is my epoch. And as you see, I got Sam right here. She decided she wanted to crawl up in the hammock. And I decided I wanted to do this live stream in the hammock today because, I don't know, I strained a butt muscle. I know I would be laughing if somebody said something like that. But yeah, I don't know if it's from, a couple of nights where we've laid on the ground or if it's just the way that the bag is sitting on my back because I've added some weight to it. But anyways, the title of this video, and we're going to talk about a lot more than just me going to Mobile. But I will be tomorrow. I catch the bus at 5:30. I will be there. It's an hour drive, so we'll be there in Mobile tomorrow evening. And what we're going to be doing from that point is we're going to we're going to be looking to find a ride out of town. Not we're not gonna do the whatchamacallit, we're not gonna do Greyhound past Mobile. Mobile is the last place either we hike or we catch a ride, a train ride, and go. I've been looking at the map, and just to kind of give you guys an idea of where I may end up going is because I want to avoid Texas. Avoiding Texas is, because everything's going on down there with all the military hardware that's heading down there. Last thing I want to do is get in the mix of that because that could end very not well for me. And so, hey, what's up, Cherokee? No, yeah, I'm going to Mobile tomorrow. Yes. But anyways, yeah, we're gonna. I've been looking at the rail guide and kind of looking for a place to where Sam and I can go and watch trains for a couple of days. But hopefully by the 1st of March, Sam and I will be. I don't know. We'll be close to Kansas City, maybe. I think we'll end up making it to, in Kansas City area because again, I want to avoid Texas, and. I was looking at it, and I don't know about any of you guys, but so I don't know what about you guys, but I'm looking at possibly Canadian Pacific, but I've never I don't know anything other than CSX, which is what I rode to begin with, and so it's gonna be a whole new experience for me. And then, I had the crew change, but now I don't have it anymore because of all the stuff that got stolen in Gainesville. So now I kind of got to do this the old school way, which is talk to people, look around. It's probably going to take us a week to jump out, just because, we need to find a spot. We need to sit there and watch the spot and see, what's coming through, what we want to catch, what we don't want to catch, and kind of get a generalized idea so that when it comes time to get on, because Sam and I are gonna have to wait for it to stop each time because I took her to the beach yesterday. Yeah, was it yesterday? Yeah, I took Sam to the beach yesterday because we were gonna go out on trail, but everything kind of went sideways, and that's part of what made me go, you know what, it's time to leave Pensacola. No, I don't need to stay here any longer than I already have. So I was considering jumping out from here or going to Mobile. I was talking with another dirty kid, and they were telling me that from Mobile, usually all that stuff heads west. So if I'm trying to go west, it'd be easier to get out through Mobile than it would be through a different city. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. There's no, this is just we're gonna travel. We're gonna figure out how to travel, and I may be uncomfortable with it because of Sam, either the way that she reacts or just kind of. The fact that, because when I took her to the beach, I tried to get her to jump off the pier, and she wouldn't jump off the pier. She'd go run in the water and go out to the edge of the pier, but she wouldn't actually jump in. So I actually had to pick her up and toss her in twice. The first time, she went right in. Second time, she was kind of cautious because she knew what I was about to do. The third time, she's like, "Screw you! No way in hell I'm gonna get close to you because you're gonna toss me in there." And the thing is all I was doing is it was just deep enough for her to swim. All she had to do is swim maybe 5-10 feet, and she'd be able to touch the bottom because the Gulf is pretty it's pretty shallow. Okay, so I mean, you can walk a half mile out there and never get past your knees in depth. That's the cool thing about it. And during the summer, it's almost like a warm bath. So I went and played in it. It was a little cold, but it wasn't a. I mean, I've been in streams that are colder than that in the summer, and I'm telling you, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. But it was. I ended up having to wash up there in the bay the other day just because hey, that's just something I can't get in for a shower, and so I mean I got to figure out a new way to clean myself, and so you get to a water source, you jump in the river, and you clean yourself. This is something that you kind of have to get accustomed to and get used to. You get in that river, it's going to be cold. And especially during the cooler months like spring and fall. But during the summer, it'll be warm enough to where you can jump in there midday, kind of like to cool off, and then that's how you kind of keep yourself clean. But during the winter, it's got to be a pain in the ass to do something like that. I remember as a kid, we used to have to boil water to fill up a metal bathtub, and that was how we took a bath when I was a kid, because we lived in $100 a month shack up in the mountains of Oregon. So I mean, it was we lived. It was I was one of the last stops for the bus, and it was a 45-minute ride to a K through 12 one building school, and yeah, it was snowing at about 3 feet high, and nobody cared. It's like, okay, they'd plow the roads, and we were good. So it's kind of funny watching other areas where it's like you get a little bit of snow on the ground and they just go nuts. But that's just one thing. But anyways, so that's kind of the plan, what we're looking at doing as far as, heading, why we're going to Mobile, what we're planning on doing from Mobile, and kind of how we're getting to where we're going. Because my hope is that Sam and I are able to make it to either New Mexico or Colorado uh, by the Ides of March, by March 15th. Okay, so I think that would be an important time to be there, because then we got a week to kind of get to where we need to get to and get situated and get there as early as possible, because I'm looking forward to kind of just living by a river, cooking for myself, growing my own food, and just kind of figuring out ways, because I'm working with Paranoid as far as finding a good enough power source for me, so I'm not stuck going into the cities, and I can live out there for as long as I want. And so we're looking at like a solar generator. The generator itself is like $200, and that's a Walmart price. And I don't know, I don't really trust Walmart stuff. I mean, I bought a card reader from them, and now it don't work at all. That's one thing that, yeah, it kind of yeah. Now that I got my new phone, it won't read. So they want me to spend $30 to replace it. I'm like, screw you! I just bought this 3 weeks ago. It worked once, now it doesn't work anymore. So I'm always a little weary of stuff from Walmart, because that seems to be pretty common as far as quality of gear. Amazon isn't much better though. So to think that Amazon's got good quality stuff. I mean, seriously, if you're gonna get quality stuff, you should be going into a military surplus store, a sporting goods store, something like that, and getting your gear. And I think that as the channel grows, as we move further west, I think we're gonna go through, and we're gonna work on getting a few pieces of gear from either a military surplus store, just because of durability, or for if I need something that's lightweight, then I could go to a sporting goods store like Dick's. But the thing is, you're going to pay a premium price. Like, I called them up to ask them what a butane burner would cost. They want like $45 for a butane burner. I can get one from Walmart for 15. I can get it off Amazon for 10. you know so I mean, it's just it's crazy. And something like that, it's kind of hard to make something cheap like that, because it's very simply made. There's not a lot of workmanship that goes into it. It's just a seal and a valve. I mean, it's probably more than that, but still. So I think that moving forward, as far as gear that I get and stuff like that, because this month I'm so tired of buying gear. Like I went to go buy my any interest to come back to Portland. Hell no. I will not come back to if I end up there by happenstance, but or I get the win that I can find my kid there, then yes, I will be in Portland in a heartbeat. But unless there's something like serious that calls me back, I'm done with Portland. I'm done with that area. So as far west as I'm going to go is Colorado, New Mexico. I mean, I don't mean to be to. I just Portland was my home, and I grew up in Portland in the 80s. I mean, I grew up all over Oregon, but I got to spend part of my childhood in Portland. My grandfather owned property on like 46th and Cully, and he owned several duplexes and things like that. He was well to do. He owned 5 businesses, and so we lived in his apartments, especially with the way my mom's lifestyle and work was. It was the only thing that my grandfather could do, which was give her cheap rent in one of his own places, and made sure that she always had a place. And so, I mean, so whenever things would fall apart, we'd end up there in Portland in one of his properties. Other than that, like I lived in like Lapine, I lived in Bend and Terrebonne, all the way out in Diamond. We lived alongside the Snake River. I've been all over Oregon. I mean, my little sister lives out in like Lincoln City. So when the craziness from California started really coming in there, and that was in the late 2000s, as everything was falling apart. All that money was moving from California to Oregon, and so they had their businesses there in California. A lot of them did, and they were making a lot of money. Yes, it did start in the 90s, the 80s and 90s, but it really didn't start to have a negative effect until the early 2000s. When the Al Gore crazies started coming out, that's really when it started, because that's when the super left started becoming the super left that we see today. Was after Al Gore's loss. So, but it just watching all that money come in, and then I was there in the Portland housing crisis when, like, all of a sudden the soccer team wins a national championship, kind of like the soccer Super Bowl, and now all of a sudden Portland has no cause evictions, and you couldn't find a place within 100 to 150 miles of Portland to rent. I mean, and they raised rent by like about 30%, and all these Californians came in and just took over. And that was when I said, you know what, I'm done. The Californians came in, they destroyed my home. They're like a cancer on society. And the thing is they're moving east, and just like a locust, they're going to eat everything that they come in contact with, because there is a sickness within the state. And I don't know why or what it is, but I was in San Francisco when Gavin Newsom was mayor. Gavin Newsom was a drunk and an alcoholic, and all he had to do was come out and apologize, go into rehab, and he kept getting reelected mayor. And now all of a sudden I hear he's governor. I mean, that dude was, I mean, and the mayor that you had before him, I think it was like Joe Brown or something like that. He was a crackhead. He got caught with prostitutes and doing crack and, all that other stuff. So, I mean, it's just, and California elected that man to as governor. Like, how the hell did that happen? I mean, either he had to have some serious connections, or there is a serious sickness in California. Because he was a shitty mayor, and he's an even worse governor. And so because of his policies, those states that are surrounding him that have similar politics are now being overran, and that's what really sucks about this whole mass migration. And I think Oregon suffered more of this than most states, to begin with, but other states have started dealing with it in the 2000s when everything was falling apart because of the .com and then 9/11. everybody started moving to Texas, and Texas has had a boom for what, like 20 plus years. And now they're finally starting to lose population because people are moving out. But then, that's because of all these migrants coming across the border. And Texas is getting hammered. Florida, during the cough, Florida became just as popular as what Texas used to be. And a lot of people are even leaving Texas to come to Florida because Governor Abbott was more like a dictator. And that was pretty sad. And just, you're gonna have these states, and you're gonna have these people that are fleeing the crap that they put into place, and that they were complicit in, and then they'll end up being the ones that bring it, because like a West Coast Republican and an East Coast Republican are totally different. I've never been to Colorado. Me either. Well, actually, no. Yes, I have. I was there a couple years ago. So, does anybody have any questions? Because I know I've been rambling and just kind of giving you guys my own opinions on certain things. Just kind of, how the world's working. I know the whole AT&T thing. I bet a lot of you guys are concerned about that. What plans are you guys putting in place? And how dependent are you on your cell phone? This is, if you have an opportunity, and you have a community that you can create with, like, I guess, ham radios or something like that, that would be a good idea. Because you have to have communication, but the thing is, you have to have communications between regions and areas, because you need to know what's going on in the rest of the country. If all of a sudden, everything goes out, you've got no electricity, you got no communication, no power, no water, and all that stuff. And you need to know what's going on. Is this infecting the whole country? Is this infecting just you? Things like that. So I know that there are some preppers out there that actually talk about stuff like that. But yeah, anyways, we're going to Mobile. So does anybody have any questions? Anything they want to get my opinion on, or what I think about? So tomorrow a video will be dropping. I think it comes out at either 3 or 4 o'clock. Somebody asked me about carrying a weapon while being out here. They want to enforce their Second Amendment right. And so I kind of talk about an experience that I had last night, and I'll kind of give you guys a little bit of an introduction to kind of what I'm talking about. So last night in our camp spot, probably about 11 o'clock or midnight, some dude drunk comes wobbling into our campsite, me and the old man that I hang out with. Okay, so, the guy's sitting there, and I'm thinking that it's the neighbor behind me. I'm thinking he's out in his backyard, crying on his phone, drunk about a girl. And it took me a minute to get orientation, and Sam was kind of going nuts. I was trying to calm her down and, like, don't announce yourself. Let's figure out what's going on before you actually, start trying to go a point of attack. Okay. But I mean, she probably knew more of what was going on. I was just waking up. She tends to stay up a lot of the night and sleep during the day. So as you see, she's wide asleep the whole time. So she stays up all night fighting crime, and she likes to sleep during the sleep all day. But she was kind of alerting me to that, and he kept getting close to camp to my area, and I'm like, look, if you get any closer, my dog's gonna bite you, because I have her on a double leash. So because I was given a second leash, I put her, I wrapped that one around a tree, and then I clip this leash here to the leash I wrap around the tree, and that way she has room to roam, and also it kind of, because I set up my, like, if we're sleeping on the ground, or even if we're sleeping in the hammock like I am here today, I kind of want to give her some sort of perimeter around my body. That way, if anybody comes super close, or anything comes close, because at night, what she likes is she will growl and bark and attack anything. Because at night she's really, at night she's kind of very skittish. I don't know if it's because of her breed, because she's Rhodesian Ridgeback Lab mix, or what it is, but So I kind of I have that set up. So this guy, he's stumbling around drunk, is almost falling in a hole. And I tell him Sam will attack him if he gets any closer. And he's like, oh, I'll take my pistol out and I'll shoot your dog. And I'm like, I'm standing at this point, and because the thing is one thing that I'm even trying to teach Sam, and Sam understands to be quiet now. I'm teaching her this because the thing is when somebody comes up on the camp, or comes up, they may not know that we're there. So as long as we're quiet and we don't really do any sudden movements, you can get into position to be able to deal with whatever threat that you may have, whether it be me unhooking her and standing up. And if the guy, because the guy's going to see the dog, is going to go after the dog first. The dog's a distraction. Will I blindside him and have a nice day? Okay, so at that point in time, but in this situation, we're really close, and so I mean, having a ranged weapon really wouldn't work. And if that kid would have tried to pull out a pistol, I was maybe 7 to 10 steps from him. I could have gotten there before. I could have gotten there and taken it out of his hand before he was even able to fully pull it out of his pocket. And then I would have whipped him with it. Because he was drunk, so he was an easy target. And that's another thing is you got to think about out here. What things do you want to do? You might think, oh yeah, I want to sit back and have a beer. But what happens when you've had a beer and you're not able to be alert and to be able to do the things that you need to do? And that is that's important when you're on the move like that. That's why I smoke my weed, and that's it. Because I'm happy. It takes a minute for me to get to anger, but am I able to walk? Am I able to have my how impaired am I compared to like drinking alcohol? Drinking alcohol, I would be way more impaired. And for those of you that have been recommending that I try this whole Delta 8 thing, I went down today and yesterday to one of these little shops. I tried a couple of shops just to see what it was like, and I'm surprised, but it's not my thing. Until we get to a state where it's actually legal, I think I'm not gonna smoke anymore. But I had to check out the Delta 8. It's not as bad as I thought it was. For those of you that have said, hey, you should try that. So let's go into some. I saw some questions. Okay. Rock scene was great in the early 80s and 90s. Yes, it was. Never been to Colorado. What's the best place you've been, and what's the worst place I've been? Um, uh, Lon, is that lifetime, or is that just this cycle? Because this cycle, I would say the best place I've been is, I would say, Covington and Cincinnati. That was, as far as everywhere that I went, that was the place that suited me and my lifestyle and who I am, the content of my character. That place really did well. And I would say that the worst, it wasn't as bad as I may make it, but I think it's probably one of the worst places I've been. Is uh, uh, is Grace Marketplace. I really think that Grace Marketplace is. I mean, yeah, you can go in there and get a shower, but there's smoking dope in there, and then you got your dog in there, and you hope that your dog isn't, being affected by it, and that kind of sucks. But then also, you can walk in and do a shower, do a laundry. You don't have to worry about it. They're not going to restrict you because of your dog. They let you come in. So, I mean, there is a positive side to it, but the dark things that go on there. That outweighs all of the good that it does, because the amount of people that are put at risk when something like that happens. So let's see. Is it getting hot down south? It's starting to warm up. We're getting like 50s and 60s at night, and we're getting like 70s and starting to get up into the high 70s during the day. So I mean, that's kind of what I'm seeing around that. So, but does if you guys have other questions and stuff like that, so you guys want me to do something on hygiene? Are you Hey Rugsy, nice to see you, man. So I'm curious on the whole hygiene thing because I know a couple of you may be in here already, that have asked for that. Like, are you wanting a tutorial, or are you just wanting me to tell you like how I do it? Because um, you know, it used to be okay. So before I had a dog, I could always go in and get a shower if there were showers available. Or I would stay the night in the shelter because most shelters require that you shower at night before you get in bed. This is how they keep like the bugs and all that other stuff down. And plus the smell, because you got 150 guys in a room, bunk beds, and yeah, you don't want to be smelling all that nasty stink. So making sure that you get a shower and clean clothes and things like that. Some of them even make you wear pajamas. Okay, so yeah, I would go in for things like that from time to time, but I've never really struggled for a shower until this cycle. In the almost year and a half that I've been doing this, I've gone periods of time where week to 10 days, sometimes 2 weeks between showers. I have the worst I've ever done was LA, and that was in Hollywood, and I went 45 days without a shower. I have this stint that I'm on right now until I went and washed off in the bay. I think that was probably the longest. It was about 3 weeks without a shower. Um, and the getting a shower, it can be hard, especially if you have restrictions like what I have with Sam. Even though she's a service dog, I got to get them to recognize it and all this other stuff. And then all of a sudden they want to, because she's a service dog, there's high standards and high expectations, and so they expect her to act a certain way and respond a certain way and do things a certain way. And so and if she doesn't meet their expectations, then they will take their right and force us out, because they're like, oh well, your dog isn't doing this and this and this. Okay, and so that makes it really hard to go in and get a shower. Like here, I was gonna get one at Washburn, but after having all that hysteria and crap that happened over there, well, I haven't gone back there. And I'm not going to either, so I can't get a shower there. And then the other place I can't get a shower because they want a state certification, which is something I've never heard until just recently. So getting a shower now, you can do things now. Some of the really far gone people, what they'll do, and they'll spend about an hour in the bathroom, and they'll take a bird bath, and you'll see toilet paper everywhere because they're using that to dry off and stuff like that, because you don't want to be wet, especially when it's cold. But you go so long without a shower, you're just like, I cannot take it. Something that I always carry on me are wipes. That way I make sure that my nether region is always clean, because that's kind of where all the funkiness and all that crap comes from. So you need to worry about, and that's what and you spend about $4 on wipes. I mean, seriously, that's really what it's not going to cost you much, and it's really good for if you have to use the bathroom out here as well, because then you get to keep yourself clean. Because if you're wearing the same pair of pants for like a month at a time, I mean, my pants right now are so dirty, even after laying in the bay, that sometimes I think that it's only the dirt that's holding them together. So, okay, so do you use ridgeline in your hammock? I fall asleep in a hammock with no ridgeline for a while, but when I put one in and change it for the sleep game. Ridgeline, explain to me, because I'm still kind of new to the whole hammock thing, and I try and keep up with Shug, but there's some things that I don't understand. So like as far as the way I do my hammock, okay, Sam, you're just gonna have to deal with this. Okay. Yes, I know. So let me. Do you deal with trash? I take my trash with me when I leave. So I mean, I'll throw it on the ground, but when I wake up in the morning, I have a plastic bag, because when you go to the store, you just keep one of the plastic bags. Okay, so let me show you guys my sleep system, or kind of how I have this. As you see right here, and it goes all the way up here. You see where I have both this. This is above this because it needs to be able to go. Okay, so and then so I mean I put it about as high as I can, but also I can only get this so high. So I kind of gotta accommodate for something like this. Okay, so for those of you that are curious, okay, and then let me show you the outside. So this is my tarp, as you see. This is this is a very tight ridge right here. And so as you see, it kind of bends, and this is good for water shedding too, but to pull up. But when I place these stakes in the ground here, as you guys can see, when I place these stakes in the ground, I pull it tight. That's why you see the dip right there, is because of the centerpiece. So when I set this up, especially we're dealing with some wind. So when I set this up, let's see if I can show you. Okay, so I think like right here, okay, you see how I got the metal spikes there? Okay, so I put those in the center, and then I put your regular hook tent spikes on the edge to kind of pull it out. Now, if you notice the center pieces, they're being pulled away from each other. Everything's being pulled tight, because what I want to do, as you see, is this is kind of part of this is the wind, and it's pulling it out of the soft sand, but also it has a way to where it can go, and at the angle of what it's at, it's going to push the water out here so that I have a large dry spot. Okay, so when it rains, you want to, because like when you got to pack up your gear the next morning, and let's say it's not raining, well, you still want a dry spot. So as you see here, see how wide that is? Okay, now I mean I still got to duck down to get in there a little bit, but not by much. But I have that. And then one of the other things that I always make sure to do is, okay, so somebody told me about this, and this was important. Okay, so you see this right here. Okay, this is the extra slack from the strap that goes on the tree. This is where everything goes, because as you see, there's a carabiner there. Okay, and you got to make sure that your carabiner's closed, because sometimes they kind of get a little stiff. Okay, so then I have my carabiner, and it drips off here. But you also see that I have now. I didn't normally. What I do is, when I put this up is I will. This is the ridge line, I guess you would call this. This is what I'm setting up first, is kind of trying to get it over the hammock. Okay, because if you look over here, I was kind of being a little lazy because it's not going to rain tonight. It's supposed to be clear, but it rained last night at about 3 a.m. and so Sam and I had to crawl under the tarp because we were sleeping on the ground over with a friend. But as you see, like right here, it's not, so at the other end you saw how far away it was. So I probably could have pulled this about another 3 inches this direction, just to give it more, so that it actually has something. Because as you see, when it comes down, it's coming down to right about here. Okay, so that means that this rope right here is going to get soaked all the way down. So but the thing is when I lay in it, it's also going to come right about here, because the way that that it just kind of it tightens up when you're doing it. Okay, so then that still does allow, because now this part is underneath. So if it does rain, it may get a tiny bit wet here, but not nearly as much as it could if I really wasn't paying attention. But normally I make sure to center this over this, and then put my stakes down that way. And I always put, so like when the wind was coming from this direction today, I set this side, so that, because if I would have set the other side, it would have been, you want to do the wind side first and get that tight, because that's going to be your foundation. And then over here you're just going to kind of reinforce it in a lot of ways. So for you guys that keep asking about my sleep system, one last thing here. Okay, so you see this right here? This is my under quilt. So it straps. So hold on a second. Let me see if, okay. So as you see, it has a little clip, okay? Has a little clip. And then as you see, it has a little strap right here to kind of go over. Now, I've shortened this piece right here so that it pulls it out. But I could go like that and, actually bring it up to clip it up here. But from what I was told is that, you want to have you want to have some space between the bottom of your hammock and the bottom of your under quilt, because that's kind of where it's like a heat pocket. Okay. So, anyways, that is one thing that when it comes to a sleep system, that's what I have set up. Now, when it comes time to sleep outside under the stars, I got no trees. I use this tarp here as a ground tarp. I use the under quilt as my sleeping pad. My hammock stays in my bag, and then I sleep in my sleeping bag. And sometimes, depending upon how cold it is outside, Sam will either be under the sleeping bag with me, or now that it's getting warm, she don't even want to be under the sleeping bag with me. It's too warm for her. So we kind of go through that thing there. But as you can see, that is my favorite part about a hammock is you see how you can rock yourself to sleep, and I can touch the ground, so I can just if I want to rock myself to sleep at night, kind of like a baby. But anyways, I thought that I thought that was interesting. Now, some of you may be asking, well, how do you sleep with a hammock? Because me, I'm a side sleeper. Okay. And so one of the things that I do is I always make sure to extra elevate my head. That's why I use my coat as a pillow. Okay. But most people don't understand is that okay, so look at my feet. So I could sit here like this, but I'm sitting at an angle. Okay. So because I'm sitting at an angle, it kind of wraps me up a little bit differently. I don't know how else to put it, but the thing is it takes maybe a night or two to get used to it. But once you get used to it, you get the best night of your sleep, best night sleep of your life. Not only that, it's okay. So the only thing that you're dealing with is just basic gravity, which is gravity pulling you close to the ground. Past that, you're basically floating on air. So if you have back issues, you got muscle cramps, you got all that kind of stuff, a hammock will allow you to kind of mitigate that, and it will be a lot kinder to your body over time. So okay, okay, the Angels help. Our setups are about the same. I got a bug out net on mine and a ridge line. Okay. Well, no, this actually has a mosquito, but the mosquitoes aren't here in Pensacola, so I'm not using it. Now, when we were in Gainesville, I used it, and so I can set it up, keep it wide, and then I just pull it tight, and it kind of raises, and so I can get inside a bug net if I want to avoid mosquitoes. Yeah. That's why I went and bought this, because I had a 12-footer that was honestly, it was a little bit more comfortable. I think that the next hammock that I get, I want to have the bug net separate. First, and then secondly, I want to have something that's like a two-person hammock. That way, because it's a little bit harder for me and Sam to sleep in this than it was for us to sleep in the other one, because that was a two-person hammock, and we can do it in this, but as the temperatures get warmer, she's going to want to not be she's not going to not want to be undercover. She's just going to want to sleep on the outside, and maybe just because she likes the softness, she likes getting up here in the hammock with me. If you go over on her channel, you'll see some pictures where in the mornings, because she keeps getting out, going and chasing things in the middle of the night, I just tell her stay out of the hammock until she's ready to go to bed. So when I wake up in the morning, she'll hop up in here, and we'll hang out here for about an hour, like what she just did, and and that way she gets her little softness. But anytime I sit in the hammock, she's trying to get up in this thing, because for her it's like sleeping on the couch. It's soft. No, actually it's not. not the only hard part with it is how skittish she is at night. I make jokes that she chases tree fairies and possums, and people who don't know what tree fairies are. So when you hear that wind blow and the leaves rustle, that's the tree fairies, and that scares the living crap out of her. She's barking at it. She's ready to attack because it's the end of the world. Okay, so she loves chasing tree fairies at night. So especially on a windy night, it's crazy. And if I want to get any sleep, this is what I got to do. So, but no, it's not really that hard with a dog in the hammock, as long as she stays where she's supposed to stay. But like I said, now that it's getting warmer, it's kind of hard. It's making it a little bit harder. Nice. She will let you know if something creeping up. Yes and no, because then she'll get to a point where she just goes to bed and there's not a damn thing that's going to wake her up. You could run up on her and you'd be on top of her before she'd actually notice, because she sleeps hard. When she actually I've seen her, I've tried to wake her up, and it's like she was like dead. It's like for a second there I thought I had a dead dog, and I'm like, oh no. No, she was just in a very, very deep sleep. She's like, why the hell did you wake me up? I'm like, I wasn't sure if you were alive, dog. So, but anyways, guys, I wanted to share with you what was kind of going on as far as me going to Mobile, and kind of what we're going to be doing from Mobile, or at least making an attempt to do. But either we're either going to be catching a ride or we are going to be hoofing it. But it's time for us to get moving and see how much ground we can cover. Maybe there'll be some people along the way that will offer us a ride and kind of help us get a couple hundred miles down the road at a time. You never know. So just we're gonna we just it's time for us to get moving, and there's no point in us like staying static, because I mean, I've been static for like 5 months now, 6 months. 2 months in Chattanooga, 2 months uh, what was it, in Cincinnati. I spent another like 2 months in Orlando, and then just Gainesville and stuff like that. It's just like I can't. I need to. It's time to get moving, because once we get to where we're gonna go, we're not going to have a lot of moving, so I can kind of set up camp and have that security and all that other stuff. I think it's important. The world is falling apart to a point where, oh wow, St. Paul. I might go up there, but that's if I'm going to do a trail. The what is it? The Trans-America Trail. But when with everything that's going on, I think being able to have the amenities that we've gotten used to, like TV and radio and internet and all that stuff, and being able to have everybody being able to have a job and stuff like that, because of the what is it? Google just laid off 12,000 more people just because they're automating the workforce. I mean, those are high paying tech jobs. Those guys are the creators and the developers, and they're because the artificial intelligence technology's taken over is really what it is. So technology's taken over, and there's less and less need for a large workforce like what we had during the Industrial Revolution of the 1850s. We're no longer running factories; robots run them. So, yes, Klamath Falls. Yes, my uncle lives there actually. So live free, be free, stay safe. Okay, where and how do you store any food? I carry my food with me. Oops. Sorry, I hope I didn't put somebody in timeout by accident. I hit the right button. Okay, so start prepping for the Civil War. You know what? Uh, if, if there is enough of a breakdown of basic services like cell phones, internet, TV, media, the everyday distractions that we have that keep us from knowing what the hell's going on in the world, I think that people will start getting angry and going out and taking it out on who they feel are the responsible parties. And you've got all these outside forces that are stoking race flames and gender flames and all these different, I mean, it's just we're getting micro divided, to where it's easy for small groups of people. You've got 20, 30 different small groups of people that are warring amongst each other, kind of like what they used to do in the 1950s and meeting in the parks, stuff like that. So we may be seeing things kind of go that way. So yeah, I hope job soon for child support mostly. um well, yeah, I gotta, yeah, uh that's gotta be rough, because my yeah, I'm not going to talk about my ex-wife. If you guys want to know about that stuff, um you guys can come over to Patreon and do my behind the scenes, where I talk about things like that, some more personal stuff that I really don't want to talk about out here. So I mean, that's one thing for you guys to do if you guys are interested in contributing to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share this on all your social media. If you want to, become a member of Patreon, that's great. If you want to become a member here on the channel here on YouTube, you get to see videos like the video that's going to be coming out tomorrow. It's already been uploaded, and you would have already had access to watch it. And I'm doing that more and more often now that I've got people actually signing up for that membership. It's like $3 a month. It's not I'm not breaking the bank. It's just, if you like it enough to where you want to be able to catch the videos early and on your own schedule instead of right when they release, $3 a month, that's really not bad. Or if you want behind the scenes, it's $5 a month on Patreon, 10 for the behind the scenes and hobo tutorials. But anyways, guys, this has been fun. I really, like I said, during my birthday live stream, it's kind of like Cheers. You go where everybody knows your name. So I'm always glad to have a live stream with you guys and stuff like that. And again, I just want to let you guys know what I was up to before I finally close out, because I'm gonna be closing out in about 2 or 3 minutes. I need to know if anybody else has any other questions or any other topic suggestions, stuff like that, because I'm always, I've been writing them down and kind of working on them, but I want to do better quality than what I'm doing. I want to really step up my quality and start doing it more in a tutorials, like where I'm actually walking you through what I'm doing. But I'm running into some obstacles for some of that. So like the tripod I bought, all I did was take out one screw, and it never went back together. So that really sucks, because it just, yeah, that's why I don't trust anything from Walmart. It's like all the camera equipment I bought minus the action cameras really, really sucked. So but it is what it is. Okay, so let me see here. Do we have any more questions? Okay. All right, guys. So thanks for watching. Again, don't forget to share on all your social media. And don't forget to hit that like button. It's free. Yeah, the rest of the stuff's down in the description. See you guys when I will. Well, there'll be a video released tomorrow. And then as long as I'm in the city, I will keep releasing videos almost every day until we get out to a point where I'm not able to do that. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. I like watching train riders, but not very safe. It is what it is. I mean, it's free. There is a price. The price is the risk that you take. So, it's not necessarily free. But all right, guys, I'll see you next week.